A Pakistani schoolteacher has given emotional testimony to members of Congress in the United States, describing how his children were injured and his mother killed by an American unmanned drone. Rafiq-ur-Rahman and his family made the journey from North Waziristan to Capitol Hill to become the first victims of the US drone program ever to tell their story to a US Congress that is squarely behind the policy. Inigo Gilmore has been to meet them.
Al-Qaeda officials claiming this morning that a high-ranking Al-Qaeda leader was killed by a U.S. drone strike.
The Obama administration has maintained that drone strikes are increasingly accurate.
We are at a different kind of war. We're not sending troops. We're not sending manned bombers. We are dealing with the enemy where we find them to keep America safe.
Covert drone strikes have been at the heart of the Obama administration's war on terror. So far, the president has authorized more than 325 strikes in Pakistan, more than 6 times the total during President George Bush's entire time in office. Today, the most unlikely of sights, a Pakistani family, victims of a drone attack, arriving on Capitol Hill to give members of Congress their first-hand account of the civilian toll from these attacks.
I saw the two missiles coming down and hitting my grandmother, and everything became dark. I couldn't tell the difference whether it was night or day. That's how dark it was. And I heard a scream. I don't know if that was my grandmother screaming, but I heard a cry out. And then I felt in my left leg, I felt pain as if I was on fire. So I started running, even though it was very painful for me.
The Rahman story features in a soon-to-be-released documentary by an American filmmaker. They are among as many as 1,500 people who've been injured in US drone attacks in Pakistan. 12-year-old Zubair had been with his younger sister Nabila when a drone missile strike killed his grandmother. The family says the grandmother was picking vegetables at the time and there was no military target in the area.
The piece of the drone hit my hand right here.
Here? It was bleeding?
This is where the blood was. The reason I've come here is because I've heard that Obama, with a lot of conviction, has said that he's going to be using these drones. But he says that he'll use these drones on people who are bad. I'm here to ask that, look at my daughter and my son's face and the injuries that they have had. What wrong have they done to you? Why did my mother have to be killed? And I know that Americans are human beings, and naturally, they also have hearts. So when they hear my story, I hope that they will sympathize with me, even if the politicians do not listen.
Certainly some politicians were listening as Rafiq-Rahman delivered his message. He was invited here by Alan Grayson, one of just 5 members of Congress to show up, all Democrats. Perhaps a reflection of American attitudes, with a recent poll showing 61% are still in favor of drone strikes.
The problem here is that people sitting here in this city in Washington, D.C. are making life and death decisions over specific individuals in Pakistan and Yemen and elsewhere. And that is very problematic.
But what do you say to Democrats who support this policy of the administration, who say that it is depleting the enemy?
We should learn from this hearing and learn from the eloquence of the victims. In fact, there are all sorts of ways to deplete the enemy without making other people come to the enemy's defense.
His may still be a lone voice, but Grayson believes that by giving the Rahmans a platform to their moving story, he may start to change hearts and minds and challenge a policy which the Obama administration insists is still an effective weapon in the war on terror. Inigo Gilmore, Channel 4 News, Washington.